Available everywhere you get your podcasts. All you need to do is scan the QR code right now.
Download the iHeart app today and get ready for real America's voice.
Scan the QR code and join the
Coming up on Special Report, Elon's Doge continues to uncover massive amounts of government waste, leading Democrats to try and subpoena him. We have the latest on the House floor with Congressman William Timmons.
And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting with lawmakers on Capitol Hill today after President Trump signaled support this week for Israel. We'll bring you the latest with the war in Gaza.
And Matt Rogers, a former contestant on American Idol, talks about his journey in faith from Idol singer to Tennessee Titans announcer to now a voice of Live Golf. All that and more right now on Special Report.
Welcome into Special Report. I'm Michelle Backus alongside Beau, Davidson, and Emily Finn. Well, Tuesday marked the first foreign visit for President Trump since inauguration, and it's quite telling that that visit came from Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. After the two met, they held a joint press conference where Trump made a major announcement about the Gaza Strip.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years.
And Doge's Elon Musk also met with Netanyahu. The meeting came amidst massive purges within the federal government, including the USAID program, which has led to Democrat protests. Elon Musk is a central target as he continues to dismantle the government through Doge. And now Representative Ayanna Pressley is claiming Elon is a Nazi and is going so far as to call for violence in the streets.
This is an unprecedented moment, a constitutional crisis. But we will match their energy with unprecedented organizing, mobilizing, agitating. We will see you in the courts, in Congress, in the streets. Elon Musk is a Nazi Nepo baby. A godless, lawless billionaire who no one elected. Elon, this is the American people. This is not your trashy Cybertruck that you can just dismantle, pick apart, and sell the pieces of.
They went for the Cybertruck.
Yeah, pretty loud. And speaking of USAID funds, it's been revealed that Politico received over $8 million in funds last year from this program. Other programs include $2 million to pottery classes in Morocco, $1.5 million for DEI in Serbia, $500,000 for promoting atheism in Nepal, and the list goes on and on and on. And so for more on all of this, let's welcome in South Carolina Congressman William Timmons. Congressman Timmons, thank you for joining us on Special Report today.
Great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you. So, Congressman, Democrats in the House Oversight Committee tried to subpoena Elon Musk, but it ultimately failed pretty fast, mind you. You were a hard no on this, and you're also a member of the Doge subcommittee. Why has Doge and, of course, Elon become such a central target over the past few days?
Look, President Trump and the Doge team and his administration are picking apart what is essentially decades of Democrat pet projects. And it's the reason that we have trillions of dollars in debt. So all of these ridiculous funding streams that we're talking about, and the list is really endless. This is the result of decades and decades of Democrats basically getting their pet projects into the budget. And we got to stop. We're out of money, $36 trillion in debt. We're running a $2 trillion annual deficit. And Elon Musk is doing exactly what President Trump told the American people that he would do. And look, 77 million people agreed that we had to change direction. And that's exactly what we're doing. The Democrats are squealing because they're seeing all of their ridiculous spending going down the drain. And, the country and the world's better off for it.
Yeah, and Congressman, it's kind of funny to me when you see them kind of freaking out over what he's doing. It's like this is exactly what he was designed to do, was to shock you and to do this very thing. Well, you are in the DOGE subcommittee, and you're working with Elon to get rid of the massive amounts of federal waste, some of it we just mentioned. In your own experience, what taxpayer-funded program has shocked you the most so far?
Well, just the numbers are so staggering. One thing like healthcare, a lot of these government benefits that we give to people that are in need, which is over $1 trillion a year, those resources are designed for people that have certain income that meets certain income thresholds, meaning if you make more than a certain amount of money, you're not eligible for SNAP or Medicaid. So the manner in which that we verify that is so antiquated that if you just apply a little bit of technology to it, you can save almost $350 billion. So what that will do is if we could do what Missouri has done, for example, where they have a web-based system that tracks your spending through your bank accounts and through different apps that you use for your finances, it verifies that you're eligible when you apply, and then it also verifies that you continue to be eligible. And again, we want to help people that need help. That's the right thing to do, but we want to help them help themselves. And the government has created a subsistence culture where people are just generationally reliant on government benefits. And we can't continue down that path. We have to help people help themselves. And we got to make sure that there's no waste, fraud, and abuse, because right now, the waste, fraud, and abuse that's occurring in the U.S. Government budget is staggering, hundreds of billions of dollars. So we're going to get to the bottom of all that, and we're going to be much better off for it.
Yeah, it's somewhat laughable, some of the things that they're wasting money on. But, Congressman, in a pretty groundbreaking move, Mexico has officially begun moving troops to the border. This comes after the country caved to Trump's tariff threats. It's been said time and time again that these tariffs were put in place to crack down on illegal fentanyl trafficking and crossings. Now, you've been in Congress throughout the Biden administration as well, when they claimed they could do nothing to stop the open border. So, Congressman, what changed here exactly?
I mean, we got a strong leader, and President Trump has used the resources, used the authorities at his disposal to do his job. President Biden didn't want to do any of this. And the American people are seeing what they thought to be true, that he was lying to them and that he was pushing these policies because he was a globalist shill. So, here we are just 2 weeks in, and President Trump has used the threat of tariffs to force Mexico and Canada to come to the table and secure their side of the border. And, it's difficult because I got a lot of businesses in my district, a lot of foreign direct investment in my district, and they're really concerned about these tariffs. But I tell them that I agree that we need to make sure that we're on an even playing field with these countries, but they have to do their part as well. And I have thousands of people in my district alone, hundreds of thousands of Americans have died from fentanyl over the last few years. And we need to protect our citizenry, and we can't do it alone. We need our neighbors to the north and the south to do their part. And that's exactly what President Trump did. And again, what did it take? 8 hours? It took 8 hours.
Yeah.
So, he's doing incredible work, and the country is just so thankful.
And speaking of tariffs, Congressman, Democrats have tried to paint this as an economic disaster for Americans, but Mexico and Canada were quick to cave, as Michelle said. China, on the other hand, is trying to impose retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. What is your reaction to that, and how do you think that's going to play out?
It's going to take time. They're obviously our biggest trading partner, and they're our biggest adversary, but they're in it for completely different reasons. China and Mexico are our allies, and they want to be equitable trading partners. China wants to take over the world. So, one of the big things that helped my district and many other like it is the removal of the de minimis loophole. So decades ago, they set the number at $800. If it's under $800, coming in the country, you don't have to pay tax on it. So what did China do? China did all of their packages individually wrapped, sent them over all under $800. And the ones that weren't under $800, they said they were. So it was a huge competitive advantage, and it really destroyed our businesses, our domestic businesses' ability to be competitive in the global economy. So Trump ended that, and China's going to always try to find a way to get around it. But, they're not our friends. But we have to hold them accountable, because we can't keep losing economically to them. It's not long-term sustainable. So President Trump's doing exactly what he needs to do. And I think we're going to see this one play out further. Obviously, with Mexico and Canada, he said 25%, probably because he didn't really intend to do it. He wanted to create the desired effect. With China, it was lower, 10%. We need to make things in America. We can't be reliant on foreign manufacturing. It's not good long-term, and we need those jobs here. But this is the thing. The reasons these jobs went overseas is because of the insane regulations, environmental labor standards that we have imposed on our U.S. economy, just the permitting process, the regulatory burden. So when we remove all that, when we unleash U.S. energy, we're going to be able to compete again from a manufacturing perspective. And that's what's going to matter long term. And that's going to make sure that the American dream is secure for another generation or two.
Staying on the topic of the economy, you are on the subcommittee on digital assets, financial technology, and inclusion, honing in on what is becoming a major policy issue, cryptocurrency. Where's the future of crypto headed? And is the U.S. able to make gains in the crypto world while maintaining economic dominance, especially when you start mentioning China? We have DeepSeek now.
All of these things are along the same lines. So the crypto community has been begging Congress for regulatory certainty. The Biden administration was essentially refusing to create the regulatory structure that would allow crypto to flourish. So we are going to pass legislation. Trump's going to sign it. We're going to have a big party at the White House. This will probably be in the next few months. And what that's going to do is it's going to give them the rules of the road to grow and to invest. Because with the SEC and the CFTC constantly changing the rules and regulating through enforcement and really fining businesses just randomly, that's not helpful. And what that was doing is it was pushing the future of digital assets overseas. And that's unacceptable. The United States economy that needs to always be the best place to start, to build, to grow a business, to start a family, to grow a family.
Congressman, I wish we had more time with you, but thank you so much for being with us today, and keep up the good work in Washington.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, and stick with Special Report. We'll be right back with more.
Learning is hard work. Hard work requires character. Learning begins in faith. It must move upward toward the highest thing, unseen at the beginning, God. And freedom is essential to learning. Its principles must be studied and defended. Learning, character, faith, and freedom. These are the inseparable purposes of Hillsdale College.
They say America doesn't make things like it used to. Well, say that to Linda, or Maurice, or Jep, or Whitney. At Allegiance Flag Supply, we do things not because they're easy, but because they're right. Every stitch, every stripe, every star, made by Americans, for the America you believe in. Allegiance Flag Supply, made the American way.
If anyone has told you that gaining weight, feeling tired, and struggling with nagging digestive and joint issues is just a part of getting older, they are wrong. My name is Dr. Stephen Gundry, and after years of struggling with these same issues, I found a new way to support my health at home by making one simple change to my diet. It's called BioComplete 3. BioComplete 3 works by restoring your gut health from the inside out. This is a major part of how I lost 70 pounds and have kept the weight off for 25 years. It's not just me. This is working for everybody. Joe helped his gut health, and you can see the changes, not just how he looks on the outside, but how much better he felt on the inside.
I was 270. I'm now 140. It just feels amazing. Thank you, Dr. Gundry.
I helped all these people achieve incredible changes to their weight, their digestion, even their skin. And for a limited time, you can try BioComplete 3 risk-free for 90 days. Go to guthealthsecret.com.
Welcome back to Special Report. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is meeting with American lawmakers on Capitol Hill today during his week-long visit to the U.S. Netanyahu spoke with a group of senators today as tensions between Israel and Hamas remain high. The Israeli Prime Minister's meetings with congressional leaders comes just days after his visit to the White House. President Trump has signaled in recent days strong support for our allies in the Middle East, announcing plans to take over Gaza during a White House press conference. Beau, what do you think about all of this? I mean, this seems like a crucial time for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to be meeting with Trump with everything going on in the Middle East.
Without a doubt, and I think his entry just a couple days ago was pretty iconic. I mean, they really rolled out the pageantry and the regalia for him, which I think is actually deserved. I think what President Trump is trying to do is solidify once again the unity of our two nations. It's important to show strength with Israel. It's important to show strength against Hamas. And this whole idea that Trump has floated about taking over Gaza, I think it's not as crazy as people think that it is. It's bold. It's the art of the deal. It's throwing an idea out there that people say, that sounds crazy. And then once you listen to it, listen to the minutia of actually what he's saying, you realize, there's actually some truth behind it. There's some intelligence behind it. We just got to get through how to work through those things. But my concern, frankly, Emily, is something I said a couple days ago. With this hostage release, I'm concerned about Palestinians going back into that area and being bad eggs. That's what Netanyahu is worried about. I know he's got some trouble with his cabinet over there and unifying everybody, but it's simple, kind of like what we did with Afghanistan. When you start releasing people back into that territory, and they were bad people before, do you think they're going to be bad again? I'd say the probability is pretty high.
Absolutely, and that has been what we've seen throughout so many different parts of this region. You know, these terrorist organizations, you try to, really eliminate one of them, and then more just continue to pop up in their place. Just to say, even if you were to eliminate Hamas, not to say that these Palestinian prisoners that you're releasing, that there's going to be a new terrorist organization that ends up spawning up. I will say, though, this is the Trump effect. This is what President Trump was saying at that press conference that he had at Mar-a-Lago, saying that all hell would break out if the hostages weren't released. And we saw, even before he took, his administration back, took the White House back, those hostages were released. So I think, really staying strong. And that is definitely how he's leading at this point in time here, Beau.
Yeah, and I know that it was a couple months ago. Those of you who watch Special Report probably saw that we had the cousin of Omer Nutra on. And at the time, his family thought that he was alive. This was an Israeli-American hostage. I believe he had dual citizenship, and he went back to Israel to fight in the war. And for a year, for over 365 days, his family actually thought he was alive. And they came to find out only a couple weeks ago that he actually had been dead for a year. So you think about these hostages being released, those that we aren't even certain, are they alive? Are they dead? We don't really know. And I think that's why it's really important, Emily, that Prime Minister Netanyahu is here. I think it's significant that it is the first foreign leader to visit here. He appointed Mike Huckabee as ambassador to Israel. That's a strong statement. He has Steve Witkoff as a special envoy to the Middle East. So I think he's making all the right moves. And, let's not forget, in the first Trump term, he had Jared Kushner negotiating all of the Abraham peace accords. He's got strength in the Middle East, and that's something, Emily, that Joe Biden never had. People often said that Joe Biden was weak in a lot of areas, but foreign policy was one of his worst. And we saw that play out in Afghanistan. So I think this is an opportunity right now to reset, get the Middle East back into order, and hopefully show strength with our best ally, which I would say is Israel.
Absolutely. And, as I was saying earlier, President Trump really, this is the moment that he does need to be strong. He needs to show that the United States is backing Israel. It kind of seems like this is the end of their fight here. They're getting the hostages released, giving to that ceasefire agreement, really trying to quell the tensions over there. And hopefully President Trump is going to be successful with that. But I think, should the Biden administration face any kind of repercussions for their, kind of soft role that they played in Gaza and their soft role that they played in even just Hamas rising to power like this? Is President Trump going to be able, with all of these different people in his cabinet he's been able to get confirmed, is he going to investigate the Bidens for the roles that they, that the administration played?
I would certainly hope so. But Emily, if we're being honest, we have to go back even further. Look at Hillary Clinton and Benghazi. Those are crimes that never really got a closer look. We have to look at what Hillary Clinton did. If you go back and you look at the Middle East and the missteps that were made by previous administrations, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton with Benghazi, leaving, I believe it was our ambassador and several other people dead. You look at the withdrawal from Afghanistan, 13 of our Americans dead, 13 Marines. This is inexcusable. And so absolutely we should look back. That's why Joe Biden should frankly pardon himself, if we're being honest. Yeah. I hope that there is accountability from past administrations, but at the same time, Emily, we have to look forward. We'd have to be proactive about this. And I think that's why Donald Trump is showing such strength in the Middle East right now.
Absolutely, Beau. And I know we do want to welcome in retired General Thomas McInerney. He is also the author of a couple best-selling books. General, we really appreciate you being with us to weigh in on all of this here today. President Trump has been receiving a lot of backlash for his recent remarks, saying that his proposal is to essentially breaking international laws with trying to go into Gaza. That has been the backlash and the criticism of his recent remarks. Walk us through the president's plan. How is this really going to work out?
Well, I guess we've lost our guest. Well, Emily, the bottom line is that we don't know how this is going to work, and I wish we did have the guest because, having expertise like this is critical in a moment like this. It's an interesting move. It's a bold move, but I think, once again, President Trump has great advisors around him. He's got wonderful people that are forward-thinking. We've got to reset ourselves in the Middle East, and most importantly, get rid of terrorist organizations. And it's like what you said earlier. You can cut part of a snake off, but the tail can grow back. If you don't cut it off at the head, then unfortunately the snake tends to grow back.
Absolutely, Beau. And I think, the most important thing is really taking a look at the home front here, taking a look at our military, right? If for whatever reason the U.S. did have to get involved in that kind of capacity, I think it's really great with what they've been doing with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth getting confirmed, everything that he's been doing with our military to try to really focus on that strength that we've been talking about throughout this conversation, Beau. Mm-hmm. I know President Trump has been wasting no time during this second administration here to really focus on bringing that strength back to our military. Signed a few executive orders earlier this week, one with banning transgenders in the military, banning these DEI, diversity, kind of policies, and really getting back to focusing on how can we be strong, how can we make sure that all of our foreign adversaries and all of our allies that we need to protect across the globe are really, seeing the might of the U.S. military strength.
Yeah, peace through strength. I mean, they've said this for a long, long time now. And you think about back in the first Trump term, too, with General Soleimani in Iran. He knocked him out pretty quickly. Iran didn't even retaliate because they can't. They don't know how to. So I think peace through strength is what he wants. Let's not get involved in unnecessary military activity. We don't have to. But peace through strength, I think, is Trump's message. It's been his message. It'll continue to be his message.
Absolutely, Beau.
And in a shocking new revelation, the U.S. Border Patrol chief says there is a 90% decrease in illegal entries since January 21st. We will have all the details coming up next. So stay with us right here on Special Report.
Hey America, listen up. Car repairs are seeing record highs. They've seen a nearly 50% increase in recent years due to a shortage of car parts and workers, and that number is still rising. With more drivers choosing to keep their cars longer, that means a lot of out-of-warranty drivers are getting hit with expensive repair bills. If this is you, you're risking paying thousands when your vehicle breaks down. Or you could call CarShield now to help save big on your next covered repair. CarShield offers low month-to-month plans that have helped save drivers thousands on car repairs. These plans help protect your car, truck, or SUV and up to 5,000 parts and systems. Look at how much these repairs could cost. Just listen to how much these customers saved.
I've been a CarShield customer for more than 2 years. I've filed 4 claims and saved nearly almost $7,000.
I've been a CarShield customer for over 4 years. I've saved over $3,000 covering 2 cars, and I couldn't be happier.
Car repair costs are currently at an all-time high. Don't run the risk of having to pay out of pocket. Call CarShield right now and get their price lock guarantee, where your price never goes up as long as you cover your car.
Saving drivers money on car repairs with CarShield is only the beginning. Plans go the extra mile and include 24/7 coast-to-coast roadside assistance, all at no additional cost to you.
Best of all, you'll get access to CarShield's concierge service, who can even help you find a mechanic near you.
Avoid the skyrocketing costs and call to speak to an expert now. Together, you can find the plan that works for you in just minutes. Don't wait. You have to call before your car breaks down, or it's too late.
CarShield has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau and was voted America's most trusted auto protection company. It's not a matter of if, but when your car will break down. It's time to call CarShield now. Call 800-853-6533. 800-853-6533.
Well, we may have won this election, the fight to restore our great nation is only beginning. Now is the time to take a stand, and Patriot Mobile is leading the charge. As America's only Christian conservative wireless provider, Patriot Mobile offers a way to vote with your wallet without compromising on quality or convenience. Patriot Mobile isn't just about providing exceptional cell phone service. It's a call to action to defend our rights and freedoms. With Patriot Mobile, you'll get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on all three major networks.
If you have cell phone service today, you can get cell phone service with Patriot Mobile with a coverage guarantee. But the difference is every dollar you spend supports the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, and our veterans and first responders. And switching is easy, guys. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer support team will help you find the perfect plan. And right now, go to patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with promo code RAV. Switch to Patriot Mobile today and defend freedom with every call and text you make. Once again, visit patriotmobile.com/RAV or call 972-PATRIOT.
Welcome back to Special Report. President Trump and his executive orders have sent massive shockwaves across the world. And how far are we in, Beau? Not that far. It's really astonishing to see. Now the U.S. Border Patrol chief says there is a 90% decrease in illegal entries since January 21st, and criminal prosecutions are up almost 52%.
All we needed was a president that was going to empower us, a strong leader like President Trump, and then a secretary like Secretary Noem that knows exactly what we need to do to secure the border. We're seeing almost a 90% decrease in illegal entries since January the 21st. Not only that, but our criminal prosecutions of those we're apprehending is up almost 52%. You talked about, you led in with the Tren de Agua. Our U.S. Border Patrol BORTAC unit is out there with ICE making those arrests. And so, look, Border Patrol knows how to secure the border. All we needed was an administration that would let us enforce the law. And we're out there, and we are seeing phenomenal gains on the border.
And for more on this, let's welcome in legal expert and attorney Sam Mirajovsky and the host of What's Right show. Sam, thank you so much for joining Special Report.
Hey guys, great to be with you.
Well, Sam, you are particularly fired up about this issue of birthright citizenship, and part of that has to do with your time living in California. So explain that experience to us.
Well, hey guys, I have to tell you, a lot of arguments about this back and forth. And obviously Trump, this was a day one executive order. So Trump, put the kibosh on it, and he's getting, some fight back in the courts. But, I remember, I was living in a place called Irvine before I moved to Nevada. And, I had a house next to me. It was a high-end, multi-million-dollar home. And, every few weeks, a new, woman who, looked like she was from China would show up, very pregnant. She would then have a baby. There were probably 4 or 5 of them in this house at any given time. All women, all with kids. They would come, they would go. And that was, that. It was just, happened in the neighborhood. And some people would report it, whatever, and go back and forth. But my point is, there is simply no rational argument for allowing people to take advantage of our immigration system like this. And Trump is absolutely right to fight on this. In fact, I've read that recently he shut down a number of these birthing houses, which are just factories. It's like $100,000 a pop that these, human smugglers are charging to, bring people into our country just so they can give birth, and get a U.S. passport for their kid.
Birthing houses. It's quite a genius idea if you're on the other side of it. I have to ask, though, did you ever speak to the owner of the house or see anyone familiar try to investigate on who's running this?
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, look, it was a tight-knit community and a lot of, high net worth individuals and people, that were interested. And so people would call the police and they said, well, we can't really do anything about it. And this was before the first Trump presidency. During Trump's first presidency, I then heard that there were a number of prosecutions. So, to Trump's credit, from 2017 to 2021, there were some, efforts to put a stop to it. But then, what I heard is for the following 4 years under Biden, it just got worse and worse. But here's the best news. Right. You guys are talking about all of these executive orders and the crackdown. One of the effects from this is, whether the executive order is currently in effect or not, it's already dissuading for example, the Chinese from doing this, and they're one of the big offenders. So I was reading that the word is out, and on Chinese social media sites now, they're saying, hey, don't come to America. Go to Canada. Try Canada instead. Like, they're easier on it. So it's, I got to say, like, you have to hand it to Trump. It's already having an effect, right? It's already having a chilling effect on their, program to bring people over here.
Sam, I'm curious just about that in general. When the Chinese come over and they do this in these birthing houses, is there? And I'm fixated on this now.
We learned a new word today. Yeah, we can't get off the birthing houses.
No, it's a real word. Like they use that's the word for it.
Well, it happens here in South Florida actually with a lot of the Russian community. That's very common. That happens here too. So we're well aware of it. But with the Chinese, is this just a desire for them to come here to have a better life, so to speak, or is there any sort of nefarious motive in terms of what the CCP may be trying to do? You think about the Confucius Institutes, all the different methods that they have of kind of infiltrating us from the inside out. Is there any sort of ulterior motive other than just trying to become an American citizen through birthright citizenship?
Beau, it's a great question. One of the things that I've absolutely heard is that this is in part sponsored by the Communist Party in China, that they will help contribute to this, and they'll get, party members, people that they trust, of course, politically reliable persons and citizens from that country to do this. And it is a huge national security problem for the U.S. to suddenly have, thousands upon thousands, if not, eventually in the, hundreds of thousands of Chinese nationals who are loyalists to the Chinese Communist Party have citizenship here and be able to vote.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a massive security threat. I want to move on from this because we could really talk about this all day. That's why we're sticking on it. But, everyone is still celebrating all of the GOP wins, but midterms are going to be here before we know it. And we need to start thinking about those. You moved from California to Nevada, and for the first time in nearly 20 years, the GOP now leads Democrats in Nevada voter rolls. So how do you think that happened, and what are you noticing there in your new home state?
Well, I think that a lot of Californians who are frustrated Republicans like me self-selected out of California. So I think that's just one of the things that has happened, and that's self-evident, right? When I talk to people here. But the second thing I'll say is I do think that Nevada, we do see what's happening in California. And California has gone over such an insane cliff that there's that there's just a lot more common sense here. And we don't have the weather. We don't have the beaches. We're in the desert. So if we do not, keep some, semblance of common sense here, then I think it's all out the door. And issues like, as simple as it sounds, the trans issue and girls and men and women's bathrooms and spaces, common sense things that Trump has led with, on the Republican side was a winning issue. Trump won the state. We had a great win, and I think. In the next round in the midterms, if we can get some solid Republican candidates here, we may pick up a seat or two, and it will make a difference, in the midterm elections. So you're absolutely right. Nevada is a state to watch right now, as is New Jersey. Things are happening, and it's part of a red wave that I think is going to grow, in 2026.
Well, Sam, let me ask you about that, because here in Florida, we took a lot of influx of, people on the East Coast, New Yorkers, New Jersey, even Californians as well. And the politics didn't change. They actually got more red because they saw good leadership under DeSantis. You look at a lot of Californians went to Austin. They made Austin quite liberal and blue. So my question to you is this phenomenon you're describing about going to Nevada, is that sensible Republicans that have had enough of California and so they're the ones creating the exodus, or is it a change in thought where, let's say, the Democrats that are leaving California are actually having a come to Jesus, if you will, and changing their politics?
Well, it might be a little bit of both, actually. There's not a lot of good data on this, but I talk to hundreds of people, and I interact with with a lot of folks here, and I've got a radio show, and so I from my analysis of it, I think that there are a number of Republicans who just felt like they just were getting outvoted every single time in California, that they were never going to turn things around. But I also do believe, I think you're right. I think there's a number of people here who maybe were middle of the road, who would have been previously independent, or sit things out, or like, I cannot have happen here what was going on in LA that was going on in San Francisco or elsewhere. So, California is a cautionary tale, particularly coming out of COVID. Dittos for New York. I mean, same thing, right? People came out of New York because it was such a mess. It was such a disaster. And they came to Florida and were like, oh my gosh, this is freedom. This is amazing.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, we have a lot of Canadians down in Florida right now, too. Same situation. Could not stand Canada's policies, and I don't blame them there either. But new today, a federal judge just limited Doge's access to sensitive Treasury Department payment system records. Now, this comes as Doge is facing multiple lawsuits. Given your background, how do you think this is going to play out with Doge and Elon Musk?
Well, I think it's going to work out poorly for, whoever's bringing the lawsuit. I don't think they're going to prevail. The executive branch has plenary powers to take care of things within the executive branch, scope of work. And so the Treasury reports to the president. The president appoints an auditor. I'm tired of, they're 22-year-old kids. Who the hell cares? I don't care if they're 20. Did Trump authorize them to be in the building? Yes or no? Well, I mean, if the answer is yes, and if they're there with the blessing of the Treasury Secretary, which I think is a lesser issue, but that certainly helps. I mean, the Treasury Secretary was approved by Congress, by the Senate, advice and consent. So again, I mean, this is just meddling in the affairs of the executive branch, separation of powers. The judiciary has no review over this. No. So I think it's a complete non-starter. And you'll see activist judges with immigration and other issues. Yeah. They're going to put in these, stops. It's going to make its way up through the courts. And I expect Trump's going to have a whole lot of winning coming up.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and help us with Nevada. You're doing good work out there.
Thanks, Sam.
You got it. I'm on it.
Sam. All right. Coming up, Rav'S Ben Berquam joins us to give us all the details about his ride.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding, because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
It's time to get your dream kitchen at Cabinets to Go.
Right now, save on every single cabinet in your design. Up to $175 off per cabinet. Come in today and get your dream kitchen for just $148 per month.
Cabinets to Go. Wow for less.
In a crisis, your number one need is food. But here's the good news. 4 Patriots is offering a special buy one, get 2 free deal on its best-selling 72-hour survival food kits. Hurry. Go to 4patriots.com now.
Welcome back to Special Reports. We want to get right to our next guest, Real America's Voices reporter and the voice of Law and Border, Ben Berquam. He has been riding along with Tom Homan and ICE while they apprehend dangerous individuals who have crossed over into our country illegally. Ben, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be with you.
Well, Ben, I know that you've been with ICE agents in both New York and Baltimore following MS-13 members. So tell us about that experience and what that's been like embedding with ICE.
Yeah, we just finished up 2 days of operations. These are ongoing across America. I was in New York on Tuesday and then yesterday in Baltimore with ICE as well. And we've got a little clip to breaking footage from those operations.
Going after the worst of the worst in criminals. It's like finding a needle in a haystack.
The individuals that we're looking to pick up today associated with MS-13.
Foreign terrorist organization.
Put your hands up. We see your hands. Don't move.
Drugs, guns, human trafficking.
Worst go first. Just trying to make the community safer.
We're with you 100%.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a super nerve-wracking experience there, Ben. We know that one agent actually said it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You spent time with these agents. Was the morale high, or were they generally pretty frustrated?
Well, it's a combination. It's high in the sense, in particular in Baltimore yesterday, riding with Matt, it's high in the sense that they're finally able to do their jobs again. But in asking one of the Chicago agents I was riding with last week, what it's like now based on what Joe Biden and the Democrats did over the last 4 years, and his answer to me was it's just an overwhelming workload. And that's the sense you get, is there are so many people to go after. And you heard the other Judy there saying that it's like a needle in a haystack. And the worst part about all of this, whether it was Baltimore yesterday, New York the day before, or Chicago last week, every single person that we picked up was somebody who was previously incarcerated either by the Illinois corrections facilities, New York corrections, or Maryland corrections, and they were simply let out because the ICE detainers weren't honored, because these are all in sanctuary policies. So that seems to be the biggest frustration out of all of these folks. Every one of these people could have been picked up. They could have been deported a long time ago, but they're being protected by these sanctuary jurisdictions. And that's something that has to change in these next days and weeks going forward.
Yeah, agreed. And Ben, President Trump has classified MS-13 as a foreign terrorist organization. As we've seen, you've been in New York and in Baltimore. You mentioned Chicago before. In which city would you say there are more MS-13 gang members? And should the residents of those cities be worried moving forward?
To answer the second part first, yes, everybody. The level, what was shocking to me about Baltimore, and I don't have the numbers on where their numbers are the highest, but they're everywhere. And Tren de Aragua as well, and the cartels, the Solis cartel, the Gulf cartel, the Sinaloa cartel, all of these, CJNG, all of these cartels are in just about every community in America. And probably the shocking thing to me yesterday riding with Baltimore was the fact that they're in these suburban communities. Where we caught this guy, one of the MS-13 members, was in a house he was renting. He had just started renting a week prior. The woman that owned the house, we went there. She was the one who let us in. When she found out this guy was an MS-13 member, she said, "Get him out of my house." He happened to be sleeping when our guys went in to get him, thankfully, or else it could have been a lot more dangerous. But this was in suburban Maryland, and the woman who he was renting from had no idea of his criminal background, and he was there in this house with her. So they're everywhere. They're everywhere across this country. Everyone needs to do their due diligence. You've got to be mindful of who's in your community, because it's not just, gang-infested thug neighborhoods. It's every community in America now. You have hardened criminals, now designated terrorist organizations that are operating in your community.
Absolutely. Ben, we are running out of time with you here, but I just want to know, what was your biggest takeaway from all of your time that you spent with ICE during their operations?
Mainly just how big of a task this is going to be, and that ICE needs every bit of the American people's support as well as other law enforcement support. A lot more needs to be done, and the first in that list is targeting these sanctuary communities and getting the federal government to shut them down, shut off their funding, and prosecute the people that are getting in the way of ICE doing their job.
All right, Ben Berquam, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your insight.
Thanks, Ben.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Now, coming up next, a journey of faith as one man goes from being told he'll never play sports to becoming the announcer for the Tennessee Titans and Live Golf. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Caleb, and this is my story. I was born with osteogenesis imperfecta, or brittle-bone disease. I have broken my bones almost 200 times, and I have had 11 surgeries. But I didn't let that stop me. I love to bike ride, climb, race, and I'm learning how to stand and walk. But I can only do all of this because of generous people like you and Shriners Hospitals for Children.
Because of people like you, Shriners Hospitals for Children has helped more than 1.3 million kids just like me, regardless of their family's ability to pay.
Shriners Hospitals for Children is only able to provide this world-class, life-changing medical care because of the generous gifts of people just like you.
Because of you, I can ride my bike. I can play basketball.
Because of people like you, I can run.
I can smile.
Will you send your love to the rescue today?
When you go to loveshriners.org right now and give just 63 cents a day, you're helping kids just like me.
Like me. Like me. When you give today, we'll send you this adorable Love to the Rescue blanket as a thank you and a reminder of the love you gave to a kid just like me.
Your gift, no matter how small, can help a child today.
This is your moment to make a difference.
When you pick up your phone, I know you have it right there, and call to give. You're helping kids like me. Thank you. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Please call or go online now. If operators are busy, please call again or give right away at loveshriners.org.
Your gift makes a difference. Thank you for giving.
Well, the IRS is the largest collection agency in the world, and it just stepped up enforcement for 2025. If you have back taxes or unfiled returns, do not wait for the IRS to come after you. Simply avoiding your tax troubles is the worst thing you can do. Getting ahead of this is the smart move, but never, absolutely never contact the IRS alone. Turn it over to the team at Tax Network USA. Why should you do that? Well, because not all tax resolution companies are the same.
Tax Network USA has a preferred direct line to the IRS. This means that they know which agents to deal with and which to avoid. Tax Network USA has proven strategies that are designed to settle your tax problems in your favor, whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million. Their attorneys and negotiators have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt. Talk with one of their strategists. It's free. Stop the threatening letters, stop looking over your shoulder, and put your IRS troubles behind you once and for all. Call 1-800-905-8000 or visit tnusa.com/RAV, tnusa.com/RAV.
And welcome back to Special Reports. People may not often realize how important sound is, but our voices are uniquely us. And whether that's the soothing voice a mother provides to her baby when it's crying, or the sound of the word touchdown when your team wins, voices are powerful tools.
Our next guest has not just a unique voice, but one that many have heard, be that on the show American Idol or announcing for the NFL team, the Tennessee Titans. And now you'll hear his voice in person. We want to welcome in Matt Rogers to the show. Thanks so much for joining us, Matt.
Let's go. Thank you so much for having me. Obviously, I'm excited to be here. I am big fans of y'all, so thank you for having me on your show.
Well, you have started us off so well, Matt. You've teed us off well. And I want to start this interview giving our viewers a full 360-degree panorama of your life and career, because your life didn't start perhaps like you thought it would. You were diagnosed with a heart condition in which you were told your life would not be fulfilling. But your mom saw something different. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to all the faith-believing moms out there that see more in your kids than they're actually going through. Because when I was 5 years old, I had a terrible stutter. Like, I couldn't even finish a sentence. And on top of that, I got diagnosed with a rare heart disease. And the doctors told my mom your son will never be in PE. Your son will definitely never play sports. In fact, if he does a jumping jack, he'll have a heart attack and die. And I remember my mom saying, it doesn't matter what you say, my Jesus is going to heal him. So I can, fast forward, I ended up going from, a doctor's diagnosis to end up, playing high school football, college football, NFL football. And so the doctors were wrong. Jesus was right. Let's go.
Amen.
Jesus was right. I just love that. You went on, as you said, to play high school and collegiate sports and then competed on American Idol Season 3, which led to getting a job with Ryan Seacrest. Now, this is quite a turn of events from someone with a bad heart condition.
Yeah. I mean, it was that. Honestly, it was like the heart condition and the stutter was at the same time. And it was a weird disease. It's actually people like chuckle when I say it. It was called Kawasaki's disease, and my skin looked like an alligator. My eyes were bloodshot red. All my fingernails and toenails fell off.
Wow.
And I don't remember like being healed. I just remember being sick, and then I was better. And my mom would always say like, "Don't ever forget what God did for you." So ever since I was little, she would just always remind me of that. And so no matter what I would go through, being an American Idol, who was so good to me, like Ryan Seacrest, Simon, all the producers, like they are first class. They are such good people and they treated me well. So when I was going through everything, because we all have obstacles in life, like I would always believe that there was more than what I was experiencing. And that definitely came from my mom for sure.
Yeah, as the song goes, you were made for more, Matt. And that's how I would see it. And, Matt, as a fellow singer myself and a native Tennessean, I know how special the voice is. In fact, this might be an interesting fact to you. I was actually treated for a vocal hemorrhage at Vanderbilt Voice Care Center, which can feel debilitating when you're not allowed to speak. I had to go on voice rest for 2 weeks. I couldn't sing, couldn't speak. So what is this unique gift that you've been given by God with your voice meant to you, especially now as the voice of the Tennessee Titans and being able to use your voice in so many different ways?
Man, what a great question. It's like, like people like, you and I, like, if you woke up and, if this was taken away from you, like, I kind of like think of it like Ariel from The Little Mermaid, which lost her voice, right? Like, that was her gift. And I mean, it's done everything for me. Like, I work with about 50 to 70 nonprofits every year, and they hire me to help them raise more money. So I'm constantly on stage. I'm announcing for Live Golf. I love the Tennessee Titans, even back in the day when they were the Houston Oilers. So they've always been my favorite team. So it's like, if that was taken away from me, it'd be like, like that's your gift. So for me to start with a speech impediment and then be able to do this now, very, very grateful. So, it's like when I was on American Idol per se, I was looking at Fantasia, Jennifer Hudson, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like, they're really, really good. But that's why afterwards, when Seacrest asked me, like, what do you want to do? I'm like, man, I want to do what you do. I want to talk to people and I want to host TV shows. And that's why they helped me out. So my voice is everything to me. And I don't take it for granted, for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to follow up on that. When you spoke with Ryan Seacrest, you told him what you wanted to do. How did that relationship progress into what it was?
Yeah. So when I got voted off, they were honestly, they were really, really good to me. And Ryan gave me my first job. I was a correspondent on his show called On Air with Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, I remember it.
And then someone saw me on that. And then I signed with Discovery Channel. And then I hosted Really Big Things, Gold Rush, Deadliest Catch. So it just propelled me. Because y'all know, like, relationships are everything. And if you keep good relationships and if you do your homework, show up on time, do what you say, and you actually treat people well, like, your life will do this. And that's what that did. It opened up a door for me, and now it's been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Matt, you are definitely taking your voice to new heights as part of the introduction team for Live Golf. And Live initially caught heat for being backed by Saudi Arabia, but the PGA has since had to accept and even embrace Live. A lot of people going to the events, talking highly of it, of course. Tell us about the Live experience and how you'll be lending your talent.
Yeah, well, first of all, LIV is just Roman numeral for 54. So Live means 54 golf holes. So we play 3 days instead of 4. And at first, I was one of the naysayers, too, because I'm a huge golf fan. So I'm like, what is this?
Right.
Once I watched it, I'm like, this is really cool, man. There's an individual aspect and a team aspect. And then when the best golfers in the world started going to Live, I actually went to an event and I was like, holy smokes, this is freaking awesome. And they hired me as kind of a one-off last year when they came to Nashville. And then after my last day, I got to announce the winners, and I was like, on stage now, your champion, Terrell Hatton, and everyone went crazy. And then the boss looks at me and he goes, dude, what's it going to take for you to come with us on all of our events next year? I'm like, let's go, baby. So
it's changed the whole sport. I went to the one in Dahl, that Trump hosted at his course, and it was just like the Chainsmokers were performing. Dustin Johnson was out there. There's loud music playing. It's a lot of people thought it was like taboo, but I think it's actually revolutionized the sport and got a lot of new people involved. So I think it's great that you're doing it. I think it's pretty phenomenal. And I want to get your thoughts on this too, Matt. Harrison Butker, the kicker for the Super Bowl-bound Kansas City Chiefs, he caught a lot of flack for giving a speech defending his Christian faith, including his comment that many Christian collegiate women, likely look forward to getting married and having children, and that's diametrically opposed to dangerous gender ideology that had been pushed elsewhere. And the NFL shot back, and they said that he does not represent the NFL's views. I thought that was interesting. How did you feel about Harrison's comments?
I loved Harrison's comments. I was born from a woman. My dad is a man, and every single person that's born comes from a woman and a man. So it's just, you know what, man? It's just so crazy how common sense and traditional values are now some type of taboo thing. And I say it this way, man. People persecute what they don't understand. And most people who are against that are usually kind of going with the flow and succumbing to, the status quo, or they didn't experience and they come from a place of hurt. So at the end of the day, he was edifying women. He was edifying the beauty of women, the beauty of motherhood, how important a wife is, how special a caretaker of a house is. And people yelled at him for it. So, at the end of the day, I usually just don't even spend too much time arguing with people like that. I just live my life. And my wife and I, we've been married for 20 years. She has been a stay-at-home mom and just been an unbelievable mother to our 4 kids, 3 of which were diagnosed with a rare genetic disease at birth, but they're doing phenomenal now. And if my wife hadn't been able to be there and take care of them, their life might have looked way different. So at the end of the day, it's like, I celebrate marriage. I celebrate, awesome moms, awesome wives, because it truly is a very thankless and awesome job that they don't get enough credit for.
Yeah, they definitely don't. Well spoken. And Matt,
and I'll just say this: hey, nobody gives spankings like Mama gives spankings. So
it's true.
Matt, I doubt we could let you go before asking about this weekend's Super Bowl. You've got a potential three-peat plus Taylor Swift on one set, and then you have the symbol of America, the Eagles, a team that blew out its last opponent. Who comes out victorious on Sunday?
Well, I'm actually going to talk with or side with most of America on this and say these are my 2 least favorite teams. So I actually kind of don't care who wins.
If you had to pick, do you have one you like a little more?
I really don't, but you can't bet against the Chiefs. So I gotta go 26-23 Kansas City.
Wow, that's not a bad. Here's the thing. That's where your brain is. Even if someone's heart was with the Eagles because of how well they've played, I feel like that's probably the smart play, and that's what Vegas is saying too. I just hope, Matt, that Vegas isn't controlling this. There's been some controversy over the officiating in the past several games with the Chiefs. You hate it because you want the sport to be played fairly, and I trust that you would want the same.
Oh, 100%. And I remember it wasn't even like that when I played, but now with all the information coming out and you're watching these calls being made and you're like, that's not
blows
right.
your mind. Yeah.
You can't help but wonder. But before I let you go, I will say this. First weekend of April, we're coming to Miami, Trump National.
We're there.
He's going to be there. You're going to be there.
We love it. Matt, thank you so much for being on Special Report today. We'll see you in Miami. Our old stomping grounds. And thank you so much for watching Special Report today. A very happy birthday to our technical.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Cross